Welcome into the Set It Off Network. I am your host, Michael Setitall. I got my main man, Willie V. He is boots on the ground in Georgia right now, all right, because the best conference in America, all right, according to Will, all right, some might debate this week, though, that the best matchups in the other big conference, but we're going to start off by talking about Alabama and Georgia, two powerhouse programs of the SEC going at it again. This feels like we're just watching the same movie over and over again, Will. These teams play each other all the time in the SEC championship. They played each other in the regular season earlier this year. They played last year. This has kind of been the face of the SEC, right, over the last decade. Really, since Kirby Smart took over at Georgia, this has been the premier matchup in the SEC, and it doesn't change on Saturday. This game is going to be as tight as it ever is, and we're going to find out, can Kirby Smart conquer the King? And we thought for a long time, Will, we said in our preview earlier this year, maybe it was just a Nick Saban thing, right? But clearly, the Kalen DeBoer recipe of beating ranked teams, the black hoodie, and all of that stuff that goes into it, plus the Georgia not being able to beat Alabama thing, all of that playing into each other. Alabama was able to take them down earlier this year, 24-21 at Sanford Stadium. This one in a more neutral setting, maybe a little bit favoritism toward the Dawgs, but not much there in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the SEC championship. Right now, Alabama sits as a 2.5 point favorite, I believe I see. Or no, Georgia. Georgia is a 2.5 point favorite right now in this one, on a neutral field. So how are you feeling watching both of these teams kind of progress from their game earlier in September to now? How are you feeling about both of these teams?
Well, we saw it coming, right? I think you and me both predicted Georgia versus Alabama preseason. We said that's going to be your SEC championship game. It's been a wild journey to get here after Alabama lost to Florida State. It was kind of looking like they are not going to be in this game, but circumstances kind of worked out. We found a way. Texas A&M let Georgia back into the thing, and now, if I'm Georgia, this is that hump that you gotta conquer. Georgia's played in so many tight games this season. They played in a tight one with Alabama. It's been 2 months since that first matchup at Sanford Stadium, and oh gosh, I don't know what to think about this because Alabama, they haven't looked all too great the last few games. They lost to Oklahoma. That Iron Bowl is a struggle against Auburn. They did come out with the W. We have our theories about Kalen DeBoer and him against ranked teams, but he lost to a ranked team in Oklahoma last time. And we've also seen before that you get a rematch, and sometimes the team that lost the first time wins the second time. The one time Kirby Smart did beat Alabama, it was that kind of setup. They lost the first game against Alabama. Georgia then goes on to beat Alabama in the Natty. So, I don't know. This is going to be a close game, I think. That 2.5 line makes a lot of sense. It feels like one that's going to certainly go down to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and it feels like both of these teams have progressed in different ways. Right now, you look at Georgia, and you feel like Gunnar Stockton and that offense are playing their best football. They are running the football extremely efficiently. Even in the Alabama game, they had over 200 yards rushing. That was not the problem there. It was the start, Will. You can't go into these big games and Alabama kind of blitzed them right out of the beginning, getting them down 14-0, and that is just a very tough hole to climb out of when you are playing a really good opponent. So I look for Kirby Smart to be preaching that this week, as we need to start faster and, take it to Alabama as far as letting the game play out. They kind of settled into that game, but by the time they settled into that game, well, it was a little bit too late. And these two quarterbacks right now, Ty Simpson and Gunnar Stockton, have been the best two quarterbacks in the leagues, arguably the entire year. Right now, at the time of that game, probably, in September, I would have said Ty Simpson probably gets the nod the way he was playing. But right now, I've got to say Gunnar Stockton is playing his best football that he has played all season. He's not turning the football over, which is a big key in this football game, both of these two defenses are very opportunistic. They're going to give up a lot of yards inside the 20s. It's going to be who, when they get inside the red zone, can convert field goals into touchdowns, and then who can get that big takeaway. Last game, only one takeaway, but it was a big one for Alabama. They had that fumble, and then obviously that big goal line decision from Kirby Smart doesn't really count as a turnover, but when you go for it, on fourth and goal and don't get it, it's basically like you turn the ball over, and that 3 points that we saw ended up being the difference in that football game. Then, how do you feel that these teams match up stylistically? Because Alabama still can't run the football. We saw a serious injury to Jam Miller, the Alabama running back in the Auburn game, probably not going to be playing. You have a team in Georgia who runs the ball extremely efficiency against a defense that really thrives themselves on stopping the run. But Georgia was able to have a lot of success early in that football game running last time. Will they be able to have that same kind of dominance this time? I don't know. I think, like you said, I think Kirby Smart and company are going to be a lot better prepared for this football game, and I just think Georgia is playing better football if we look at it with just the eye test over the last 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that. I think Georgia, especially down the stretch, they've been playing their best ball. You look at the Mississippi State game, they finally, blew someone out because it felt like they had a close game after close game. Then Texas, they backed that up. We saw what that Texas team did just last week against Texas A&M. Impressive, the way, especially how they dominated that fourth quarter in that game. So I think they're trending in the right direction. Alabama, I don't know if they're trending in the right direction. I have not liked what I've seen. Even looking back at that LSU game, they didn't straight up dominate an LSU team that's kind of wounded, just coming off of their coach getting fired. It was, it felt like they should have dominated that game a lot more than it ended up being. So I don't know. But again, the fact that it's Georgia versus Alabama, it feels like it's going to be a close game just because it's this rivalry. They're playing for a championship, and I feel like you just kind of got to throw everything out. Just pretend this is the start of a new season. It kind of is. This is a one-game season to win the SEC. And yeah, it's going to be a heavyweight slugfest in Atlanta. I'm pretty certain about that.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where you look at the situation that Alabama was in September, right? Going into that football game, like the panic button was getting pressed if
Oh
they
yeah.
weren't able to win that football game. So you talk about the desperation, but honestly, Alabama, while they might feel that they're comfortably in this college football playoff sitting at 10 right now in the playoff rankings, do they
I
really
don't
want to put
know.
that to chance? I mean, and then you have Georgia on the other hand, who's sitting at 4, who is clearly locked into their playoff position. So, is there a little bit of complacency? Obviously, Kirby Smart's team's probably not going to have that on their minds. They are all about winning each game, one game at a time, type mentality. But I mean, you got to say this game probably means a little bit more to Alabama as far as like
Yeah.
securing their playoff ranking. I mean, the age old debate with the new college football playoff format is, do you punish teams that play this extra game even if they lose? And the answer so far in 1 year has been no. So if Alabama were to lose this game, I don't see them dropping, but this could easily assure themselves that they belong, and they could probably play themselves into a home playoff game if they were to win this football game. So a lot to play for Alabama on that side of things.
But hey, let me give you a scenario on this. Alabama could lose this game. They could keep that number 10 ranking and they still could miss the playoff because think about BYU playing Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game right before this game comes on. If BYU wins that game, they're going to be the Big 12 champ. They're going to get that auto bid. And I would think Texas Tech would not drop below Alabama. So then all of a sudden, is Alabama the first team out? It's going to be really interesting to see how the committee ranks these teams this week. But if the chalk holds, Alabama could stay at number 10 and still miss out on the playoffs if they lose this game. Obviously, if they win, they're going to be in. But if they lose and miss out on the playoff, you can imagine the amount of controversy, and old Greg Sankey is not going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, that would definitely stir the pot for sure. These conference championship games, especially for the Power Two conferences, obviously both teams in those games kind of feel like they're already in it and just kind of adding to the resume. But what you got for this game? What is your prediction? You got Georgia, you got Alabama, you got a tie. What do you got here?
Oh, I don't think they can tie, but I'm wearing the Georgia hat. Georgia's my new team for the rest of this season because Gamecocks finished 4-8. They will not be playing in a bowl game. So that's
Dang
over.
it!
But yeah, I know
Dang
it's
it!
really sad, but I'm riding with the Dogs. Woo woo woo. But I'm still not picking
That
them
was
to
a
win this
terrible.
game.
I need a
It's
better.
terrible.
I need a better.
Okay.
Give me your best.
Woo, 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 woo. You got to put some bass in it, right? Is that
Yeah,
better?
you got. Yeah,
Woo,
I got to
woo.
feel
No,
it.
that sounds like a
I gotta
voodoo.
feel it inside of you. But
Um,
I'm gonna go against your prediction though. I'm
no,
gonna
no,
go
I
with
didn't
Alabama.
make my
Oh,
prediction. I
oh, my
want
bad, my bad,
Georgia.
my bad.
I want
Yeah,
Georgia to win, but it's kind of like Ohio State versus Michigan. And James Franklin against top five opponents. I'm a believe it when I see it kind of guy. Now Ohio State, Ryan Day, they proved they can beat Michigan. Georgia, they've proven. Kirby Smart's proven he can beat Alabama one time, but I don't know. That record is pretty bad, so I still think the Crimson Tide are going to eke one out in this scenario. And honestly, that might not be all that bad. Say Georgia drops to a 5 or 6, they get a home playoff game against some easy G5 team. They don't have to rest for a whole month. That might be the better situation. You obviously want to go out there and win the SEC. I think both teams are going to give it all they got, but I think just Alabama is that kryptonite for Kirby Smart. I'm taking the Crimson Tide in a really close one.
yeah, I'm kind of feeling that same thing. Alabama, I think, wins this football game. I just think they're playing for a little bit more there. It's a little bit more sense of urgency there, but I am concerned. I am concerned about how Alabama's playing right now, and if they go out there and look very sloppy in this game, and like you said, that scenario that you played out where BYU wins, and maybe you're sitting here being compared against the Miami Notre Dame for that like last spot and getting in over a Big 12 champion in BYU. So that would be quite the conversation we'd be having on Sunday. Kalen DeBoer's got a way of pulling these games out. So I'm gonna ride with him until it comes back and bites me. I'm gonna take Alabama to win this one in a similar game, 28-24, something like that, something really close. But I'm going to have Alabama winning, and I'm going to have Alabama to cover, obviously, if they're going to win. So uh, that's all we got for today. SEC championship preview. Check out all of our other championship game previews coming out this week. We're going to be doing all the good conferences, plus a little bit G5 action for you people out there. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Most importantly, because it's free, it literally costs you absolutely nothing to hit that little bell, that little subscribe button down there at the bottom. It doesn't sign you up for anything. You're not going to get any spam emails from Will. And all it does is help the channel out. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you for watching. Make sure you like this video, comment your score predictions below, because you know what, Will? Leaving
What?
your comments below helps us
Helps
grow.
us grow. Yeah.
Yes, and that is how we're going to end it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.